Hello, researchers. Once again, my name is Malcolm Shambana to take you through research methods. And today we are looking at non probability sampling. In the previous session, we had looked at probability sampling. So if you haven't seen that video, I suggest that you go to my YouTube channel, search for it, you'll find it, and then you can either subscribe or like the video so that others can see it. So sit back, relax, enjoy whatever you're good at enjoying. If it's a drink, if it's a snack, as I walk you through, they say today's session, though is short, as I walk you through sampling, specifically non-probability sampling. Thank you. Like earlier stated, my name is Malcolm Shambana. You can get in touch with me via my WhatsApp line. That's +260 977 488 442. You can also text me. You might as well call me if you are able to, though that's a Zambian line. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can be seeing notification of any videos, latest videos, I'm sure, which you might be interested in. Our learning objectives today are to understand the difference between probability and non-probability sampling. Though I hinted on this in the previous session, also to understand the types of non-probability sampling. There are two methods under sampling, of which we have probability sampling, which was discussed in the previous session. And this sampling involves selection of a statistical random basis or based on a probability theory. In this case, we are looking at acquiring a sample using maybe a laid down guideline or maybe a statistical formula. In the other case, we have non-probability sampling, which involves non-random selection without predefined procedure. In this case, there is no formula. The selection is non-random. It depends on the decision of the researcher. There is no specification on how the sample is supposed to be picked. And this is the session we are going to concentrate on non-probability sampling, because we already did probability sampling in the previous session. So the question which comes into mind is, what are the major differences between probability sampling and non-probability sampling? This can be discussed through this table which I created, um, comparing probability sampling and non-probability. So one of the major differences is probability sampling is mainly used in quantitative research, whereas non-probability sampling is used in qualitative research. Quantitative research, remember, has to do with numbers, numerals, whereas qualitative research has to do with words and theories. The other difference is that the selection under probability sampling is random. There is a formula or a guideline on how the sample is to be picked. Whereas under non-probability sampling, the selection is non-random. It depends on the choice of the researcher. Having a random selection moves on to the next difference, which is equal opportunity. Having a random selection definitely gives you an equal opportunity of selecting a member from a population. Whereas the random one, there's an equal opportunity for a member of a population to be selected. And having a researcher making the choice of a sample to be picked, who's supposed to be picked, leads to biased results. That's under non-probability sampling. Whereas a system is set to pick the sample, maybe there is a formula, then the results are definitely going to be unbiased. Those are the key differences. Though I wish to mention that these probability techniques we have been discussing can be used depending on the situation, can still be used in both qualitative and quantitative, depending on the situation, especially when it comes to mixed methods. We come to the types of non-probability sampling. Under academic research, be it your thesis or dissertation, I would say there are three main types of non-probability sampling. We have convenience sampling, we have purposive sampling, which is also called judgmental sampling, and then we also have snowball sampling. Convenience sampling is a sampling that is determined through the convenience of the researcher, what makes the researcher comfortable, what's convenient for the researcher. So there are several factors to be considered according to what the researcher wants. This could be geographical proximity, who's near geographically, how accessible is the population to the how accessible is the population to the researcher. There is also existing contacts. If they already have phone numbers of people you are interested in interviewing or interested in to help you through the research, definitely you are going to use your existing contacts. There is also timing. Who's available at that time when you are doing the research? These are some of the factors that influence the decision of the researcher under convenience sampling. The sampling is is mainly used. This type of sampling is mainly used to research on common topics. For example, investigating how adequate are the rains in Zambia in 2024. This is a common topic. You can easily walk on the street and ask somebody, how adequate are the rains for us to have a good harvest in 2024? Or even somebody near, even your kid. It's something which people can easily explain or analyze. So, convenience sampling, when you're applying convenience sampling, you must be sure that your topic is a common one, not a difficult one. Otherwise, you might have a challenge or you might be getting wrong answers or wrong responses or a challenge in people giving you responses. We come to purposive sampling, a non-probability sampling method. This actually involves selection of participants in accordance with the objective of the study. So your focus is on the objective of the study as well as looking at what qualities the participants possess in order to assess if they are able to help you answer your research question. So it focuses on two things. One, your research objectives. That's why it's called purposive sampling. Also focuses on the capability of your participants. Purposive sampling is used when researching a unique topic that requires unique qualities of a respondent. So where if you have a topic which is not common, you cannot just walk or ask anybody or sample just at will without assessing the qualities of the respondent. And purposive sampling is used when the population is small and the topic is unique. So those are the key things you need to look at. Is my topic small? Is my population small? And is my topic unique? An example of a purposive sampling is investigating for the causes of drought. This is not a common topic, of course, unlike what we did in the previous convenience sampling, where we picked a common topic like able to assess if we have adequate rainfall. But this one is now more on a technical part. You need a person who understands some elements of drought in detail. So that's why purposive sampling is mainly linked to the objective of the study. Lastly, but not the least, we have snowballing. Snowballing, uh, unfortunately, we don't have snow in most countries in Africa. Personally, I've never physically seen snow, but I've seen it on TV, of course. I've never seen it or touched it. But I've got an idea what a snowball is and what happens when you are rolling it. I've seen it on TV. I'm not talking from experience, but I'm talking from what I've viewed. A snowball starts as a small ball, then as it rolls, it gathers more snow from the ground. As it continues rolling, it becomes bigger and bigger. This is a principle we are using now here when doing our sampling. Um, Snowballing relies on referrals from initial participants to recruit additional participants. It's rolling, it's becoming big. You start with one sample, one participant, then that participant refers the friend, of course, after it's done with your interview, or maybe during the course of the interview, refers the friend, and the friend also refers the other friends, and so on and so forth. The sample grows. It's actually built on referrals. It is mainly used where it's difficult to identify or access a particular population. If you don't really understand the particular population of your research, snowballing will be ideal for you. And it's also used in situation where your questions are sensitive to the respondent. The respondent isn't comfortable even sharing information with you. And the respondents want to may want trust from you. An example is if you're studying a drug abuse related topic, or maybe even alcohol abuse, you have maybe one drug abuser. It's very difficult for you to gather 10 at a go. That drug abuser knows friends who he can manage to convince to come to your research. Personally, you going there as a non-drug abuser and picking it will be very difficult for you to handle such a case. And it's also used in situation maybe in where people in medical, maybe in medical studies, where people are not comfortable disclosing their medical conditions. So snowballing is one of the ideal sampling methods in your non-probability sampling research. So we end here. If you haven't gone through the probability sampling, you can go to the YouTube video. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe for you to get notification. And then our next topic session will be on the next session will be on hypothesis testing. It's more like the continuation of inferential statistics. So don't miss that by subscribing and you getting a notification. Thank you for listening to this session. God bless you all.